This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So till yesterday, Jira navigation, which we went on, we created a project, right? We created a URL also for us ourselves, where we started with the URL called as 32EWQ, something like that. So I'm using the same URL to log in, right, into my corresponding project. And the project which we created was an EWQ, something name I have given it, right? So we went on into the backlog page where we created an epic. So inside each epic, there are stories being done, right? So here in the second story, which we created some more user stories, right? So those user stories, we started a sprint there. Right, which we started a sprint. Then in the under every sprint, we have given a subtasks also, right? So those tasks been accomplished under the to-do list over there. So the tasks which are being given to each and every person who's involved in the project. So it is in the progress list. So where the corresponding test engineer or the developer needs to perform their related tasks. So once it is done, they drag it and drop it into the done. So once it is done, all the tasks, right? You go to the backlog page, you'll see the tasks are being completed over there, right? So you have 0 issues over there in that. So currently, when you come down to the second epic, which has more user stories to be accomplished over there, you can see these are all not yet done there, right? In order to start all these sprints, start all these stories, you need to click on the start sprint button, right? Giving a specific date, whatever the dates you mention it as, right? You'll find all those stories over here. The very first story, 8 issues which we raised over here, right? So all the tasks over there, right? So the second story, there were no issues raised over here, right? It has blank. Even the same thing, the last one, third one also, right? So we create subtasks over here by clicking on each story. Go for a subtask or add a child issue over there, right? You give some subtasks assigning to the corresponding person, right? A developer, coding to be done, right? A test engineer, test case document to be done, right? So like that, we keep on adding it over here. Refresh it once. Here you'll find those 2 tasks, right? So 2 issues now for this particular story over here. So they need to be dragged and dropped it. Whereas my developer and test engineer, they will be logging in, checking their tasks, what are things to be done. They will do their tasks, drag it and drop it into the done, right? The done is over there. Like earlier it was 8, now there are 11 issues being completed, right? You click on the complete sprint, right? You come down to the backlog, you'll see all are done. You'll not find anything now, blank, right? So that is how it has been done. But we did not write any cases related to it, where Jira is not supporting to write a test case, right? In order to write a test case within the Jira, you are again taking a help of another tool, a plugin, which we are calling it as, and the plugin which we call it as a Zephyr Squad Test Management over there, right? Again, this add-in or a plugin is not an open source. It is a commercial one. So we'll be using a trial version or a free version of it. Now, for that purpose, you go to the apps menu here, right? There are 2 names I'm giving it. One is apps menu and somewhere I have mentioned it as apps button. Yes, apps button is different and apps menu is different. Do not get confused over there. Right, this is your apps button, this is your apps menu. Right, so in the apps menu, go for your find new apps. Either you type it over here if you remember the name, or else if you find it, you directly click it on it and start working onto it over there. Like that, there are n number of plugins related to the Jira over there. So some are used for the development purpose, right? Which we are not related to that. We are into the management side, so we are taking up a management over here, right? So click it on it. As I said, it is not an open source commercial, again you can see here, but we are trying it a free version over here, right? Start free trial. So once it is done, you will find the Zephyr into the menu list to the extreme left over there when we go back to the project. Right, so it is done, success. Go back to your project. Right, you can see an add-in is being added up into this over here called as Zephyr test, sorry, Zephyr squad over there. Right, so when you click it over here, you will find what are the things you can do it over here. Right, so again you can see here epic task and bug, which we have already done, but we are supposed to create a test over here. Where is it? So we did this add-in, right? We installed it, but here in the Zephyr we are supposed to write a test, right? A test case, which is not happening over here. There is no option here, right? For that purpose, you have to add in that, right? I have mentioned as optional steps over here. For some versions, you have to do it. For some versions, it will get automatically there, right? So if it you get it over here, right? You go to the create button, you go for an option here, you do not find a test, right? A test type of issue is not finding, then use these navigational steps over there. That is why I said optional steps for you, right? If you find it, then well and good. You don't need to do that option, right? So currently we are not having it, so we are supposed to do it. So what is it telling us? To go to the project settings. You have an option called as issue types. Add issue type over here. One second. Okay, this is an older version which we are working on to. Okay. 1 second. Yeah, I got that. the version changed, so I got a little bit confused over there, right? So which we added by doing this, right? Add issue type, give a name, create it, you will get an issue type as test over there, which you are able to find it over here, right? You got it over here now. So it is done, right? The optional steps are done. Then it is time for us to work on this creating a test now, right? For that purpose, let us go back to the project here. Right. So what it says, create a test. So we'll go back to our backlog page, right? Select issue type as test, which we just created. Under the board, create test, right? You can do it from here, or otherwise go to the Zephyr squad. The drop downs, you have it over here. Select the issue type as a test, enable it. Okay. So from here, also you can do the same thing over here, right? One second, people. Right. Where were we? We were talking about creating a test, right? What I'll do is I'll do it from the beginning because the options are swapping from there to here. It's a little bit getting confused over here. So after installing the Zephyr squad, right? After adding the test also into the issue types, right? Which we did this part, the optional steps there up to here. So it is time for us to create a test now, right? So as I said, you can create a test from here, go to the create menu, and the issue type is test, right? So or otherwise, you can have an option called as create test over here also. You can do it from here or here. So we'll do it from both the sides, right? So that you can be comfortable in that. So creating a test, right? The issue type selecting as a test over there for me, and the summary, I'm just taking an option which is under that there, the earlier which I created for all the batches there. So to test online bank application, which is obviously relating to our epics over here, right? So the task to be assigned to the corresponding person, right? Sprints which we have already completed, we said sprints are being completed. So these sprints you can see over here at the background, these are not yet started, right? So that is why it says future sprints, or else we can leave it blank, we can add that later, right? Create it, you'll find a sprint, sorry, a test here. You can see the icons getting changed here. These are your stories, right? You can find them: story, task, bug, epic, and a test. All are having a different icons. This is a story, this is a test, and epic. Bug had a red color square dot over there, right? So that is what it is. So the test over here created. So you can evenly create a test from here also, right? Under the Zipfire squad over here. So now I'll take a different test over here related to something like GTPL bank, it says. Again, I'm assigning to the same person, right? Again, there is no sprint here, which we did not start it. Create it, you'll find the two tests over here, right? So you create a sprint, add them into it, and make them start over there. That is, you can start the sprint over there. So this is what our navigation says over here. We clicked on the backlog page, right? Issue type as a test. We gave a summary description. Sorry. Yes, sir. You're saying something? Right. So we created a test in that manner, right? So the test need to be added into a cycle over there, right? So that we can do an execution. Again, I'm reminding it to you, doing an execution in it, in a sense, the Jira will not do it by itself like your Selenium 2, right? So you have to do it manually in that case, right? So for that purpose, again, under the Zipfire squad, go to the cycle summary. Right? You have an option called as create new test cycle, right? So version, which we did not created any versions there, give a name over here. If it is related to which type of testing, is it functional testing or what it is, right? So that I'm taking a name as a functional testing, save it. Right. So we have created a test earlier, then now a cycle got created called functional test. But what is it to be tested? We do not have any option there. We did not add a test over there, right? Search for the tests. You see the two tests which we created are being visible over here. But we did not add either any of the test into the cycle, right? But before adding the tests into the cycle, we have to write some test cases, right? So what I'll do is I'm selecting the EWQ, the 19th test over there. It says to test online bank website, right? As I clicked on it, I can see some options over here. So this is your Zephyr actions, the test details, and your test executions over there, right? So the details is where you'll be writing your cases. So click on those small icons over here. You can see here, right? I'm clicking on a test details. Once I click it, I find these columns here. My test steps, my test data, my test results over there, right? These columns. Let me fill up as I'm writing a test case like this, right? It's a web page over there. It says online bank website. So I'll be talking about navigating my URL of AUT, right? That is my step. That is the action which I'm talking about. For that action, I need some data, onlinebankapplication.com, something like that. My test results will be I'll make it like this: bank homepage to be displayed, right? I'll click that button and the next step comes. So number of steps, how many you have, you can write them over here, right? I'll say login with valid user ID password. Now what is your user ID and your password? The data to be entered, right? User must log in and display uh, module, like one of the module I'm taking is balance inquiry. So I want to check my balance in my account because it is on bank I'm talking about. So we have a module. So what I'll do is my next step is click on balance inquiry. So when I said click, my data will be blank and my test result should be displaying like this, right? To display balance of balance amount of customer, right? I'm done with those 3 steps. I don't want to write more there, right? So once the steps are being done, we need to add these steps, right? We need to add this test into the cycle which we created over the functional testing, right? For that purpose, I'll go for my Zephyr actions. Sorry, yeah. Zephyr actions, where you have an option called add to test cycles. You do not find it over here. You did not click it over here. To the extreme right, you can see there's a 3-dotted button called actions button, right? Click it on it. You will find an option over here, add to test cycles. Either anyway, you do it from here or here, you will go to the same place, right? Right. The cycle summary, we have done a functional testing. So assigning it to, there's only one person which we have it, right? Give their name and say add there. Right. So it is added. Now go to the cycle now. So we'll go back. Go back to your Zephyr squad, right? Now here under the planning and execution, right? You have a search test executions over here, right? Click it on it. Right. You can see the functional testing to test online bank. You can see the number also which we did it, EWQ 19, right? Which the priority is being given medium. It was assigned to this person on this date, time, right? And you can see the execution state is unexecuted. So version I did not create it, so it is taking it as an unscheduled version over there, right? So what do you do when you click it on it? It will go back to those steps which we defined it in the test details. Right? According to these steps, do your execution manually by yourself over there, right? So once all those executions are done, based on the pass or fail, give the execution status, right? I say it as passed, click it. So my test is being done. I'll go to my test summary over there for the reporting purpose. Right? Total number of tests, we have only 2, right? The 19 and the 20, the EWQ 19 and the EWQ 20, right? Those are 2 tests. One is unexecuted, right? The 20 is not executed, only the 19 is executed. Total executed are 1, total unexecuted are another one there, right? That is the summary report. You go to the metrics, you will find it over here. The 100% is being completed about the functional testing. right? So total passed are 1. Scroll it down, you can see functional testing. The test ID by defaultly will be given there. Execution status is passed, done by this person. So that is the report table. If it is anything else is being failed over there. So we'll write another case also, right? Right. The 19th test is being failed, which we made it over there manually. Right. The 20th test is also there. But what do I do is I don't want to write my steps in the Zephyr test details. I don't want to write it. I've already written the test cases in my Excel sheet, right? Something like this, I mentioned it as step numbers, step descriptions. Step descriptions are nothing but your test steps over there, right? The data, expected value, and that is it. So these are my steps which I defined it over there related to that GTPL, right? I don't want to write them over here. I want to use that Excel sheet into this Zephyr here, right? Into the Jira, right? For that purpose, what I'll do is you have an option called as import to test, right? Click on the import to test. So it is now we are mapping our Excel sheet into this Zephyr over here, right? The file which is being saved where it is, I kept it on the desktop. Here is it. Right? Click next. So I want to start from the row 1 over there, right from the first row. So if it is only the column names, you want to remove it, go to the second one, you can change the name over there. Sorry, change the number, right? And what is it you want to go with? Importing. I want to import a particular sheet over there, right? Import all the sheets related to it, right? Click next. Right. Map your columns over here. These column names, map it with your Zephyr Spot management over here, right? Here I have some steps. I'll say step description, right? Results, there's only a result column like that. Test data column is, we have it over here. And what else? The name, it is asking for a name, right? I did not mention any name there, but still I will make it as an actual value is also empty there. 1 second. What do we do is we'll name it like this, the sheet name there. I'll do the uploading again because there's a modification done. Next. Sheet. As the same mandatory. It is not getting updated here. Sorry. Need to do it from the first because whatever the modifications done, saved it. Next. Right. You ask for a name, I'll give it as a scenario here, right? My steps are my step descriptions. So what I'll do is I'll name it as step number because there is an option called as description. I'll select as a step description here, making it clear in that case, right? And test data, we have a test data column. Results is your results column. Scenario, step number, step description. So there is no expected option here. What do we do is we'll make result as an expected value itself because we don't have an expected value column here anywhere. Description. Right. So that is why I made my result as my expected value here. Right. Click next now. So I don't want to do a validation. I'll skip it. Begin import. Right. It is done. Then go for your search tests over here. You can see there's a 21 now coming up. Named it as a scenario now. You click on that. You click on that. You find a test details over here. Again, the icon. The steps, whatever you have defined it in the Excel sheet, you will be finding it over here. Okay, we mapped it right from the very first row over there and the first column. So it all had to done that, right? So this is how the mapping is done. So once the mapping is done, you add this into the test cycles, right? For that purpose, again, Zephyr actions, right? You have an add to test cycles. I'm going to add it into the same functional test cycle over there. Version as unscheduled over there, right? Right. So this Excel sheet also been added into it, right? Go back now, go for the cycle summary, right? Search for the test executions. Now you'll find the second one also here, 21, right? This test summary is name is scenario, which we are going to talk about. That is what it says, right? So this is how a new test is been added. When you click on this name, you'll navigate to the test details where the Excel sheet being mapped into it, right? And you do the execution as per that Excel sheet over there according to this, right? Whatever you mapped it, you do the executions over here manually, right? According to that, consider if it is a failed, right? Make it as a mark it as a failed and done. Go to the test matrix. You can see one is passed and one is failed. Scroll down, you can see both here, right? In the test summaries, we seen total 2 tests, right? Now it came down to 3 because there is a 19, 20 and 21. we did the execution of a 19 and the 21, we left the 20 over there, right? That is what an unexecuted. So total 2 are got executed over there, right? So this is how the Zephyr squad management usage is, right? Where we create a test, execute the test over there, right? You have an Excel sheet, import it into it, and do the executions again in that manner, right? So this is how this Zephyr squad management and the entire Jira will be working process over there, right? At the last, I kept a navigation of importing a test. So anybody did the navigation? Achha, I sent it just now, the navigation, right? Sorry. I cannot ask you the question, did you did the navigations or not? So do this navigations, let me know. You have any queries, ping me, I will help you out over there, right? Any queries till here? Let us discuss about that now. Yeah, ma'am, I've seen your message. Yes, I've seen your message. I'm going to check that now, right? So you raised a point, right? Why am I missing your email ID? I don't understand. Right. Anybody missed any more? Yeah, ma'am. I mentioned your name there, Kavya Reddy. Okay, okay, sir. I will send that. Right. Let me forward first the Jira whoever did not receive it. Sir, even are you? Is this your email ID?